I've discovered a few things about myself. Now, I've only ever finished one draft plus some editing drafts of a novel. So I don't know if any of this information will change, but this process alone has helped me learn a lot about myself. So we're going to go into them and the lessons that I've learned regarding these and how I'm going to make changes moving forward. I'm Bella, an aspiring author currently working on my debut novel, which is a college fantasy romance novel temporarily titled Aleena. The beginning follows more of a romantic plot, and then the end shifts more into a fantasy plot. And I don't know if that makes any sense. But if you would like to learn more about my novel, I'll link a video in the cards. Now on to the video. First, I'm an underwriter. My outline may be extremely detailed, but when it comes to the actual writing aspect, I cut short on descriptions, I cut short on the world building stuff, and I move fast through the story. I don't let anything sit long enough. At least the first draft of Aleena tended to read a lot more like a draft 0 than it did a first draft. I needed to expand a lot on everything. Second thing that I learned about myself, I live for tracking, whether it's word count, time, pages. I live for the progress reports, for the tracking on either Excel or just a document. I don't actually do anything with the data yet, but I love tracking the times that I am productive, of when I start to end. I love tracking the words that I made progress on, especially with the first draft, the pages and time spent. Like, I love all of it. I would really love to put this information into like some sort of program to get stats on it, but I don't have the program yet. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know in the description. I would love to be able to track my stats on all of this. 3, I need to be accountable to someone. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I do know that in order for me to make any semblance of progress, I need someone to text, someone to update, someone to talk to. And I think that's going to be my best friend. I'm going to work with her so that she knows that this is coming. Having someone to say, hey, in the last week, this is what I did. Or having someone to say, hey, in the last week, I didn't do anything because life got crazy, is going to be very important. And having someone who knows how crazy my life is going to be even more important. 4, body doubling. The idea of body doubling is to work with someone else in the room with you, or work with someone just being around. And right now I don't really have that in the physical space I live. So I've kind of been using like ASMR working videos to give the same idea. Just write with me or work with me, Pomodoro method, or just regular videos have been doing wonders for my progress. Having someone else gives me motivation to stay focused in, especially when I can cut out all the excess noise of everything else going on. I would love to eventually do write with me ASMR videos. I don't know how long it's going to be until I can get to that point. My writing and workspace is not conducive for that kind of filming, so we'll see. 5, I don't do sprints, I do sessions. I've realized that doing 20, 25, 30-minute sprints, by the time I get into it, the sprint's already over. I end up cutting myself off when I'm in the groove, and I could just keep going for a little while longer. So I've realized that when I sit down to write and I actually get into it, it works really well for me to just continue writing until I need to take a break, either to go to the bathroom, to stretch, to just take a breath, or if I've run out of motivation. Now, this means that my writing sessions will tend to be 45 minutes, an hour and a half long before I end up taking a break. And usually I don't go back to writing afterwards. Usually that's just the time that I spent and then I move on. 6, ASMR is my savior. I cannot tell you how happy I am that I found ASMR. It helps me sleep, it helps me focus, it helps me function more. There are various different types that I use depending on what I need right now. But I've been really leaning into like role-playing ASMR, which is like medical or Reiki, tarot, things like that. And it really helps me so much. I used to listen to like the tingle ones, but I've kind of fallen out of those a little bit. I don't know why. I might try to get back into those. I think that the working ones just have extra noise going on, and because the people are talking, it can help drown out the rest of the noise in my house. But I don't know. We'll see. There's definitely some science thing related to that. I don't know what it is. 7, if I do anything else creative in a day, I will not be writing. I'm trying to see if scripting and filming affects my writing process. Right now, I'm still recovering from a trip to Arizona for me and my mom to help my sister with something. So I'm still recovering from that. So I can't really say that like it's affecting right now, but I want to keep an eye on that in the future. And if that is the case, then I'll have to work on that. There are creative things that I want to do in my life, and I just need to make sure that like I am focusing on writing because that is my priority, but I'm also not neglecting the creative things that I want to do. Does that make sense? I hope it does. 8, noise canceling headphones. I did not realize how much these would help until I actually got them, or until my sister bought them for me for my birthday. I have so much noise going on in my house. There is always people moving, always a TV playing, always voices talking, and I didn't realize how much the TV especially affected me. They're always watching things like Friends or How I Met Your Mother or Family Guy or like the news, and Parks and Rec is another one that's been playing. My brain focuses on it. Am I saying that correctly? My brain focuses, yes I am, on that, and I can see it playing because I know what it looks like, and instead of writing, I have a TV show or the news playing in my brain, and it derails my concentration like crazy. Again, I didn't realize how much having noise canceling headphones would really help me, and I am so thankful that I got them. 9, I need to write and work in order. Some people can bounce around their novel and write one scene here and a chapter there. I can't. I have to go through the process in order, because once I tried to skip a section just to see how that worked for me because I wanted to test it. I got maybe a few paragraphs in and I'm like, nope, got to go back. I have to go back and figure out what happened in that one because that chapter affects this chapter. It was a whole thing. So I know that I have to work in order, but I do recommend that if you are in the middle of writing your first book or your second or maybe even your third, I do recommend you try testing things out, because I think you won't know what works best for you until you test it out. And if you get a few paragraphs in like I did and it doesn't work, just go back to the previous writing session. Leave those paragraphs as is. But I do think it is a good idea to test and try and experiment and just see what works best for you. 10, researching will derail my writing session. There have been a few times where I have stopped writing to research something, and then I fall down a rabbit hole of researching that thing, and I never go back to writing. So I've realized if I can write a note and then come back to it later, that is what I will do. I will write the note of what I have to research, and then in the next draft, I'll fill that in. But if I have to stop to research something because it affects a section of my novel that I'll then have to rewrite later, I stop, I research, and if I can go back, great. If not, my session's over and I'll try again later. But if my answer cannot be filled by a very quick Google search, then I don't research at the moment. I'll write the note and then I'll move on. 11, I work best with designated writing days. Days where I don't work on YouTube, I don't film, I don't script, I don't do anything creative. All the time that I have extra to sit and work, I work on my novel. And it helps with lack of distraction. It helps with focusing in. It helps with using my creative energy for that day into what needs to get done. Now, with challenges like NaNoWriMo 2.0, with Rough Draft Challenge, with what I'm currently doing, there is no writing designated days. If you want to hear about what I'm doing for the month of November for my Nano challenge, I'll link that in the cards. You can go take a look at that. But 12, I am a mood writer. The way that I function, the way that I write, the way that everything works out for me is if my emotions are derailed that day, if something upsets me, I will not be able to write. I need to be in a somewhat pleasant mood in order to sit down and write. If I am upset, if I am angry, if I am sad, if I am in pain, I will not be able to focus on writing. I will not get the energy or the motivation. But I do know that when I get motivated, when I feel better, I write for a very long time. And so I'm not super upset with that when I do take days off because I'm not feeling well. I just know that that's who I am. If I am upset, I will not write. So I've kind of come up with a few different ways to get me in the mood and to get me motivated and make me feel a little bit better. One of them is music. Another is the ASMR, like I've said previously. The third is watching YouTube videos by other writers and seeing their progress, seeing their enjoyment, seeing how they're doing and how they're working. Usually I'll get like 5 to 10 minutes into the video and I stop it to go write because I'm now motivated. Whether I go back to the video is hit or miss. It depends. I'm not very good at that. But yeah, that's a whole thing. Just finishing one draft has really helped me discover a little bit about who I am. The more I write, the more I master my craft, and the more that I work on myself, the better I will be. And I am excited for what that looks like. Anyways, take a look at this video next to see my writing process and more about me as an author. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.